Hey guys, Travis from Gamer Nights here, and seeing as my first video didn't do too bad with the views, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go out and make another one. So, I'm here to talk about today why Man of Steel gets the amount of hate it does. Well, as a die-hard Superman fan, it's really hard for me to pick fault with this film, but so I'm going to defend Superman to the death and explain why this film doesn't deserve the hate. Well, here is the top 5 reasons why Man of Steel gets hated on, even though it doesn't really deserve it. Reason number 5 is that the amount of damage that Metropolis took. Well, yeah, it is safe to say that Metropolis was near enough ruined by the end of the film, but surely that could not all be Superman's fault. I mean, if you throw a bunch of Kryptonians, basically indestructible, into a smackdown in a city full of fragile buildings, what did you expect to happen? It was inevitable there was going to be a shitload of damage in the crossfire, and if there was people in those buildings, how the fuck is Superman supposed to save him when he's the one who's being pummeled through the building? He can't just stop being thrown. Oh, and did I forget to mention the world engine? You know, the thing that destroyed a shitload of Metropolis, which was happening while Superman was, you know, saving the world by destroying the other one. If he stopped to save everyone, well, there wouldn't be anyone left, would there? So, really, that you cannot blame Superman for that. Reason number 4, the overly long 40-minute punch fest. Right, seriously, oh come on, you're picking fault with action, you know, what we want. That thing that Superman Returns had jack shit of, yeah, it went on for a bit too long, I'll admit, but you really cannot complain about that. This is the first real fully special effected action we have had of Superman, ever. Superman Returns really did not fill the spot for this. You want a Lois and Clark love story? Watch the originals. Imagine the reaction this amount of action would have got if Superman Returns was never made. It would have been, oh holy shit, this is the Superman we want and we are liking it. Instead of, there isn't enough Lois and Clark love story, unlike Superman Returns. Bitch please, it was there, but not much. Who cares? Watch the originals or Returns for that. That's like saying you went to watch Pacific Rim for the story. Pfft, bullshit. If you wanted a Guillermo del Toro film with a good, solid story, watch Pan's Labyrinth. Reason number 3 is the cheesy dialogue. Yes, I will admit, this film has some very cheesy lines, but have you forgotten some of the films that have made cult status have cheesy lines? Terminator, I'll be back. That is way more cheesy than some of the lines in Man of Steel. Yes, I agree, the dialogue can be wooden and blunt in this film, but at this moment in time, when those lines were spoken, I was too mesmerised with Superman kicking the shit out of Zod and Faora and all the other Kryptonians, that I didn't really mind it, I didn't notice it. However, after a few watches, I do agree, I begin to find the dialogue a bit wooden. But like I said, the action really makes up for that. One quote that really sticks in my head from this film is in the end fight scene where Superman is fighting Zod. And Zod says to Superman, you know how this will end, either I die or you do. I found this quote to be very cheesy. It kind of reminded me of the original Transformers films, and I think it's spoken in the new one, but I'm not too sure, don't hold me to that, where Optimus Prime and Megatron always say to each other, by the end of this day, one shall stand, one shall fall. I thought in Transformers that worked very well, but in this, I didn't really find it to work as much. Reason number 2 is that it doesn't deal with Kal-El's origin enough. This is actually the point that really irritated me. I mean, have you got to be kidding me? Really? Not enough? Snyder knew what he was doing from day one. He's a fan-first director, and as much as I love the origin story of Superman, it's been done to death. Watch the original Superman, or perhaps the 10 seasons of Smallville that kindly sum up the whole origin story. Even though at times it does stray from the origin story a lot in the later seasons, however, it's still a fulfilling summarise of the events of his childhood. Also, Snyder also added the flashback scenes to fill the gaps for the new Superman fans, which would then maybe influence them to go and watch the originals or Smallville. It's about time Superman got a smackdown in a live action film, don't you think? Next, all I can say is bring on Doomsday. Yes, reason number 1 is that Superman doesn't kill, as you probably guessed. Agreed, definitely 100% agreed. As much as I love this film, this is one thing that really should not have happened. Zack Snyder should have realised that this would annoy a lot of fans. However, as Angry Joe explained, please go subscribe to him, he's amazing, he's really good. As he explained in one of his videos, this was within his first week of being Superman. He is completely inexperienced, not really having this kind of responsibility in his life before. This Superman is not the Superman from the comics, but a much more gritty, inexperienced Superman who obviously hasn't really had much of an introduction to his role. He could have learned from this mistake as to being the reason he doesn't kill, because he killed the last remaining member of his race in the heat of the moment. This could have helped him to think about his actions more swiftly and thoroughly before taking action in the future, making him into the Superman we all know and love. They could have done so much more with that, but as an overall point, I cannot agree more with this, and it was a bad decision on Zack Snyder's part. Anyway, as an overall film, I do agree that Man of Steel has its flaws, but the fans and the viewers are trying to pick fault with the film for like no reason. Or they are just greatly exaggerating small flaws into really huge ones. All I can say is just sit back, relax, and enjoy the action, which is what we want. I've been Travis from Gamer Nights. I forgot my name then. From Gamer Nights, and I hope you enjoyed this video. The next video I'll be taking on is my opinion on the Superman Batman film and how I think that's going to go down. For those of you who haven't seen Man of Steel or haven't heard of it, which is highly undoubtful, here is the trailer, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching, like, comment, and subscribe.
The world's too big, Mom.
Then make it small. Focus on my voice. Pretend it's an island out in the ocean. Can you see it?
I see it.
My son was in the bus. He saw what Clark did.
You have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe. I have so many questions. Where do I come from? You just have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark. Whoever that man is, he's going to change the world.
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?